6. Chapter 6: The Test of Faith. Gabriel sat in the kitchen of his childhood home, the familiar scent of his mother's cooking wafting through the air. It was a scene he hadn't experienced in years, not since his music career had taken him far from the small town where he'd grown up. But today was different. Today he wasn't here just to visit, he was here to share the news of his transformation, to explain the radical shift in his life that had led him from the dizzying heights of fame to the quieter, more purposeful path of faith. As he sipped his coffee, Gabriel's mind raced with anticipation. How would his parents react? They had always been supportive, even when they didn't fully understand his choices. But this was something else entirely. The stakes were higher, the implications deeper. He wasn't just announcing a new album or a tour. He was sharing the fundamental change in his life that had altered his very identity. His father, a stern yet kind-hearted man who had worked as a mechanic for over 3 decades, sat across the table reading the newspaper. Gabriel's mother, ever the nurturer, bustled about the kitchen, preparing lunch. Gabriel took a deep breath and decided it was time. "Mom, Dad," he began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion, "there's something I need to talk to you about." His father looked up from the paper, a curious expression on his face, while his mother paused, her hands full of ingredients. "What is it, Gabe?" she asked, concern flickering in her eyes. Gabriel hesitated for a moment, then plunged ahead. "I've made some big changes in my life recently. I've found my faith again, really found it, and it's changed everything for me. I've started making music that reflects that, music that's all about God and spreading His message." There was a moment of silence as his words hung in the air. His father's brow furrowed, and his mother set down the mixing bowl, wiping her hands on her apron. "Faith?" his father finally said, his voice measured. "You've always believed in God, Gabe. But this sounds like more than just going to church on Sundays." "It is, Dad," Gabriel replied. "It's about living my life for God, using my music to glorify Him and help others find hope and purpose in Him. I know it's different from what I was doing before, but it's what I believe I'm meant to do." His mother moved to sit beside him, her expression a mixture of pride and worry. "We've always been proud of you, Gabe, no matter what path you've chosen. But this sounds like a big change. Are you sure you're ready for this? The music industry isn't exactly known for being welcoming to God." Gabriel nodded, understanding their concerns. "I know it's a big risk, and I know it won't be easy. But I've never been more certain about anything in my life. I feel like I've finally found my purpose, and I can't turn away from that no matter what." His father leaned back in his chair, studying Gabriel carefully. "And what about your career? You've worked so hard to get where you are. Are you willing to throw that away?" Gabriel shook his head, a gentle smile on his face. "I'm not throwing it away, Dad. I'm just using it differently. I've already started releasing new music, and yeah, some people aren't happy about it. But I've also heard from people who've been touched by the songs, who found hope and faith because of them. That's worth more to me than all the fame and money in the world." His father sighed, rubbing his temples. "I just want you to be happy, son. But I worry about you. This world, it's not kind to people who stand up for what they believe in, especially when it comes to religion. Are you ready for that?" Gabriel reached across the table, placing a hand on his father's. "I know it's going to be hard, but I'm not afraid. God's been with me every step of the way, and I know He'll keep guiding me no matter what happens." His mother, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke up, her voice soft but firm. "Gabriel, your father and I love you and we support you. But you need to understand that this path you're choosing, it's going to come with sacrifices. We just want to make sure you're ready for that." Gabriel nodded, appreciating their honesty. "I am ready, Mom. I've thought about this a lot, and I know it's what I'm supposed to do. I just wanted you both to know, and to ask for your prayers and support as I move forward." His parents exchanged a look, a silent communication that spoke volumes. After a moment, his father sighed and gave a small nod. "You've always followed your heart, Gabe. If this is where it's leading you, then we'll stand by you. Just promise us that you'll stay true to yourself and to what you believe." Gabriel felt a wave of relief and gratitude wash over him. "I promise, Dad. And thank you. Your support means everything to me." His mother smiled, a tear glistening in her eye. "We'll always be here for you, Gabriel. And we'll be praying for you every step of the way." The conversation ended on a note of understanding, but Gabriel knew that this was just the beginning. The real test of his faith would come in the days and weeks ahead, as he navigated the complexities of his new life. But he felt a sense of peace, knowing that his parents were behind him, and that he was following the path God had set before him. As he left his childhood home that day, Gabriel felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but he was ready to face them, confident in the knowledge that he was walking in God's will. And no matter what obstacles lay ahead, he knew that his faith, his family, and his music would be the pillars that supported him through it all.